That's how. Is my mic good? That's my mic. I think we're good. Do you have it up on your phone right now?
I do. Get started. We're black.
My mic. Is it?
Oh,
Okay,
there
it's
we
good
go.
now. Do you hear yourself? Do you have it up on your phone right now?
I do. Yeah, started. Yeah, I
Uh,
heard me.
okay, we're good. We're good. We're good.
We're black. so,
I was switching in between tabs.
okay, I was like, why is it okay?
Yeah. Okay. Before we start, I have something I need to do. I have merch to open. This is not This isn't sponsored. This is just me putting people on.
Oh, what that is? Inspired by Jesus. That's dope. I like that. Who made that?
There's one. I did not order this shirt. I guess I did. I guess I did.
God is faithful, patient, loving, eternal. Oh, I like that one. That's my favorite. That's nice. I like the color too.
Rock these this week.
We need the link.
Check the chat. Nobody. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Maybe having some technical difficulties.
No.
Hold on.
That's nice.
20. What the heck? Oh gosh. Hold on.
Okay.
Just a second. What do you mean it's using the wrong bitrate? It's literally not. Oh well, it'll be fine. So, last time I brought up a topic that Gate kept from you. So I guess I'll tell you.
Before
Um,
we continue,
I was. It's gonna be right. It's there. Uh, okay. What was the topic?
you get kicked it for a week. Do you remember still?
I did. It was not a week. It was on Wednesday.
It was a week.
It was on Wednesday. Don't even exaggerate.
I thought it was
Um.
last Saturday. Okay. I'm tripping. Yeah.
Um. Okay. So my church has this youth ministry called Young ID, stands for Identified in Christ. So the leader and the senior youth pastor is the senior pastor's son. The senior pastor his name is John Jenkins. His son's name is Josh Jenkins. He does these pop up prayers, kind of where I got pop up podcast from. But he would just randomly announce in the group chat, pop up prayer at 12, 12:30, 12:45, something like that.
Yeah.
And he'll preach about a topic, and there'll be like people in the comments sending prayer requests. We'll all pray for each other. He'll do his little devotional, and we'll go about our day.
Mhm.
So this last week, when I went to one, he was talking about uh, your fleshly desires, and his story, his background. He always tells the story of how he used to have a sex addiction, and he had to overcome that. And he was talking about that again. He was talking about how when you have addictions to drugs, sex, pornography, alcohol, if you have any fleshly addiction, you enjoy the climax. And when you want to get out of the addiction, you have a fear of missing the climax. And he was saying, the part that I loved is he said, learn to replace those fleshly climaxes with more of a godly climax. As in, when you do, like, if you do something right, when you know you do something right, you get excited. That's a better climax to have. And for me, I like, with all the things I've been doing recently, I felt those excitements, those moments where I feel like I'm on top of the world, like with what I'm doing. Like I'm proud of myself, and I see that I have a very healthy version of a climax. I don't remember, we were talking about Wednesday how that related, but I think for anybody that just fights some sort of addiction, if you look at it that way, you'll realize that there's a better feeling when you do the right thing and you feel accomplished rather than feeding your flesh and what your flesh wants.
Mm, that's good. I wish I heard that. That's good. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people don't get that because they haven't done enough of the right thing to know that it's literally the same feeling, if not better. So when you do the same un what's supposed to say unrightful things, what's the word I can use? The when you do the same things that just aren't right, and you get that climax. You would never think that doing the opposite would give you the same thing, but it will. Wow, that's good. And that's so true. I feel like a good practice with that would be to like list them out as well. So we've all done enough good things, I would say. Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like everybody's done at least something good in their life that they can like write down as like, this made me feel great, you know? So just like keeping track of that and then trying to discern right from wrong, which it shouldn't be very hard to do. I feel like deep down we all know right from wrong. We just are in denial, but just keeping track of the things that do make us feel good. Yeah, that's really good. I feel like, I got Bible verses going through my head. I'm trying to relate it to one. I definitely heard that before. Well, not that exactly, but like similar.
There's, I think, a verse in First John. Yeah, First John. I think it's chapter 3. It talks about being born again in Christ. Basically saying, when you make that decision, or when you come to a realization that you gotta put your past life behind and you gotta turn to God. Like if you're consistently sinning habitually and you don't see anything wrong with it, then you aren't born again. But when you're born again, you realize these drugs aren't good for me. And it's not something magical or something that's going to turn around overnight where you're like, I realize this is wrong for me, I need to stop. Because when you're consistent in whatever you're doing, you're addicted to it and your flesh is used to it. So it's going to be hard to just say, I'm letting go of this and then just let go magically. The difference between a Christian and somebody that isn't a Christian is a Christian struggles with sin. Somebody that isn't Christian lives in sin. We have the conviction of this isn't right. I'm not supposed to be doing this, or I wasn't supposed to do that. A non-Christian would say, I love feeling high. I love all these fleshly desires. I love getting drunk, having endless sex, stuff like that. And that's basically what that verse was talking about. So when you're born again and you know what's right and wrong and you make the decision to do right, those moments, in my opinion, from when I knew that I had to change my life, it felt good knowing I did the right thing. Like, there's a lot of times where I'm invited to go out places, like to parties or bars or something, or people go like, Nate, let's get drunk tonight, or let's go to this place. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. And they'll be like, oh, Nate, you're so lame. But I'm so chill with going like, I'm not supposed to be there. That's not good for my spirit. I'm so happy with the fact that I'm not there and I'm just sitting here.
Yeah.
Those moments, when you make those decisions, I think it's proof that you're growing in your righteousness and you're growing in your relationship with God.
Yeah. Do you think because you said, yeah, Christians, non-Christians live in sin. Christians, we're trying to what is the how did you put it?
Struggle with Christians are struggling with sin.
We're sin, but we're trying to overcome it. We're trying to do better. So, do you feel like people who are non-Christians also feel like because us Christians who are struggling with sin but are trying to it's like but we know it's wrong. Do you feel like non-Christians feel that way too? Like they know it's wrong, but they do it anyway? Or do you feel like because they're living in it, they can't even tell? Like they're so blind from the fact that they're just doing it all the time. Like you said, they're so used to it. But do you feel like there comes a point where they know it's wrong, they just choose to do it anyway? Or can they not even see it?
Um, I think my pastor talked about this. I think it's in Isaiah 59. Um, when you're doing, like, for non-Christian, or just people in general, when you're blind to what you're doing, or you
Mm-hmm.
even know that you're doing wrong, I think the verse says, you've ignored what I've said, so I turn my back to you, or something like that. But basically, if you're living in sin, whether it's blind or you're fully aware, every time you do one of those actions or consistently do that, it's like you're distancing yourself from God, and you're blocking out God's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People that aren't Christians, I've met plenty of people that aren't Christians that say, "Yeah, I know this is wrong for me, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I like it."
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any deep explanation to say that that's just straight up wrong. And like I said, it's just pushing God away from you. Um, but I think for some people, it depends on who it is. I don't know, but at some point in life, people realize the things they do aren't good for them, and they need to change.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think if you're, I think if somebody's constantly in their ear about it, especially if it's a Christian, if they're constantly telling them you gotta stop, or they're trying to help, if you're trying to help them get out of whatever they're doing, eventually they'll feel conviction, especially if you're praying for them. Like, there's no timeline or rush or whenever it's gonna happen, but
Yeah.
I think eventually people do come to realize they need help or they need to change.
Mm-hmm. No, they definitely do, and it definitely takes people who've been in their shoes before, but like are now on the other side, are now following Jesus to know that like, hey, this is wrong. But to some people, there's just a lot of people out there that just don't want to hear that. So you say that you think that Christians telling the non-Christians like enough like this is wrong, you shouldn't be doing that. Do you feel like obviously it's more diverse, but like that's annoying? Like it's too much? Or do you feel like regardless, they're always going to end up where they are? They're always going to end up, stop with that lifestyle following.
Yeah, I think at some point, from my experience, there is a point of pushing annoying. Like, me personally, there's been multiple times where people have come to me for help, or I've just noticed people need help. And if they come to me, especially if they consistently come to me, I'll tell them straight up what they need. But if it's
Mm,
somebody that doesn't come straight up to me, because I'm a big mind your business person and don't offer your opinion if it's not asked for.
yeah.
So I'm not the type to just say you're wrong for doing drugs, you need to stop. I'm I want to pray for them, but I won't consistently shove my beliefs in your face. Like, I won't consistently tell you to get off drugs. Uh,
Yeah.
and but there's people that will come to me, and it'll be the same issue over and over again. And at that point, it gets annoying for me because it's like I'm talking to a brick wall. You're asking me for help, and I'm telling you what to do, and you're just like, "Oh, but I don't want to," or "Oh, I think this and that." So at that point, I'm like, "You're wasting my time. You're being annoying. I should be more
Mm,
patient, even though I've been patient with you for a set amount of time." But
yeah.
it can get annoying on both ends.
I can speak for everybody when I say we all been through that before. That one friend who just don't listen. Like And it's not even okay. So I come to understand that at the end of the day, I know I'm not always right. We're not perfect human beings, but at the end of the day, people are going to do what they want to do. But when you're going through something over and over again, and it's like I'm telling you that that's even if I'm wrong, but if you haven't like tried a different way, I would say the way that I'm saying, and you're going through the same thing over and over again, you would think at some point you would listen. You would think at some point, okay, I'm tired of this. But people do it for so long, people sin for so long, like you said, they just get used to it. So it's like it don't even matter no more. People come to a point where they feel like they're unsavable without even thinking about it. And it definitely relates back to the Bible when they be like, I don't think there's how do I want to say that? There's many ways to cite the Bible. It all has to it people pick up on the Bible in relation to their circumstances. So you can read Matthew 6:33 a totally different way than I read Matthew 6:33 because we're two different people. We have two different circumstances. So I feel like if they were to even just you can relate anything in the Bible to what you're going through in your life, especially when you actually do take the time to read it. It'll automatically just like stick out to you. Like you ever been going through something, then you go to church, and then pastor just so happened to be talking about whatever we're going through. It's like wow, like you knew, but really that's how it is for everybody, no matter what we're going through. Because I wouldn't say that somebody else who went to church like oh it's speaking to me. This is what because of what I'm going through. It's going to be speaking to them too because what they're going through, even if what they're going through is totally different. You get what I'm saying in that? Like we we just pick it up differently based on our circumstances, but it relates to all of us. So what's the first one to give? I'll do Isaiah 59. Lord forgive me. No, it's right. Isaiah 59, 1 to 2. Listen, the Lord's arm is not too weak to save you. I feel like people think they're, like I said, unsavable. Like it's been going on for so long. Oh, how could I turn back now? How could I turn my life around now? Like it's never too late. Like you can always go back to where you started. Even if you didn't start there, I feel like we all started there. We just all shifted away from that because we didn't come. We were born in a simple world, but we didn't have to pick up those habits along the way. James 2:26 says, "For as the body without the spirit is dead," where people living sinful lives, people living in sin, are slowly dying and don't even know it because they don't have like the spirit within them. They're slowly dying. What's another one? I just had it. Romans Romans 6:23. For the wages of sin is death. Same with James 2:26. People without the spirit is dead. Romans 6:23. For the wages of sin is death. The wages of sin is death. That just says I don't even know if I have to further explain that one. That just says all I need to know. For the wages of sin is death. Doing it every day consistently and not even sitting here thinking like, wow, like this is so wrong. I feel like even just saying those words to yourself put you in a totally different space than the people who are just doing it all the time. So even if you're doing it, but you like know it's wrong, it's like, okay, you could come out of that. But doing it every day, not realizing that it's wrong, you're kind of more further away. We can all still we can go back. We can still come to Jesus. We can still come to Christ, but it just comes with acknowledgement and recognizing. And mm-hmm, we just
Oh,
got to get to. So, sorry, go ahead.
something that really irritates me is when people use their current circumstance or their past circumstances and use it as a consistent excuse.
Yeah.
Um, it's like to me, it's just, especially if it's consistent, is people always go like, "Oh, I'm this, I'm in this, I feel that," and in my mind, I have the urge to say, "Okay, what are you gonna do about it? What changes are you gonna make about it? You're gonna sit
Mm-hmm.
here. You spend so much time complaining. You can spend all that time making a difference."
Mm-hmm.
Like financially, I grew up financially in a financially stable family. Some people didn't. Some people grew up with a relatively poor family, and they'll keep saying, "Oh, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke." So in my mind, I'm like, I see people doing things about it, and I 100% respect people that consistently uh, try to change their circumstances.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here looking at some people like, okay, you're broke. Where's your job? How are you going to cut out these unnecessary purchases?
Yeah.
Uh, are you prioritizing the fact? Are you prioritizing your Are you prioritizing money over your faith? Because I think this is hard for some people to hear. Uh, like worrying about money. Money is an important factor in life, but if you come to God about it, He's not a genie. He's not going to give you $1 million just because you ask for it, but He can provide a way to get $1 million. The thing is, people also, they aren't patient. They want these things right away. They aren't willing to go through the works of getting to where they are. That's kind of a truth I'm battling with, like with this future plan I have. I want the end result so quick, but you have to come to realization that you got to build yourself. It's like your relationship with Christ. You got to build yourself closer to God. You got to start. You're born into a sinful nature, and then as you grow up and get older, you got to take control of your life and build your relationship with God so that things can get better. But people that just sit in their circumstance, there's just no progression in life. I'm a very consistently moving person. I don't like complacency or being stable in one position. I feel like I always need to keep going up. I'm very, like, so one small thing may not even be small. I hate wasting time. Like I'm not saying every little thing I do has to, everything I do think every action I take needs to have a good purpose, but I'm not going to sit here and say, I shouldn't spend free time having fun or chilling or doing whatever I want. But majority of my time, I need to grow as a man so that my future can be stable and so my future family could be stable. There's people that just don't grow at all. They either stay where they are or they go down or slowly go up. Nothing wrong with going up, but they may slowly go up. People just need to learn to take control of their life. And I think for some people, it's so easy to do. Like for me, I don't know if you've heard my weight loss story before, but over COVID, I lost so much weight. I went from 270 to, after a year, like 180, I think. Yeah, and I gained more, then lost it again. I gained like 40 back, then lost the 40 again this last semester. But I was overweight all my life. And then once I did it during the pandemic, I was like, this is easy. Why aren't more people in shape? People will look at their weight, or doctors will even tell people overweight, nah, you got to get surgery or you're going to be like this forever. But it's so easy to do some things. We just spend a lot of time holding ourselves in these circumstances and complaining about it rather than finding the easy ways to slowly or quickly get out of our circumstance.
Yeah.
Like something I notice with people that complain about being broke is, okay, you have a job, you get money, but you're making unnecessary purchases. Like, I'm not trying to knock on anybody that does this, but you may want more money and you may have a consistent job, but then boom, you're spending money on weed every week. Yeah. Imagine how much money you'd save off of that. Imagine how much money you'd save off of not eating fast food every day for all of your meals. And imagine how much money you'd save if you just stayed inside rather than going out and spending money on an Uber and drinks every weekend. It's just those small people don't want to, and then there's excuses for doing all that, anyway, but people don't want to take the initiative to better their lives. And that just, sometimes I just really hate being around those people because they don't. This may sound contradictory to the Bible, but they just don't uplift me, and I just don't like being around them.
In simpler terms, yeah, for sure. And then it's like you are who you hang around too. So why would you want to be around people who don't seek growth, who want to stay complacent? I don't want to be around nobody complacent. And going back to what you said about just have the power to change. It literally says in Luke 9 that he literally gave us the power and authority to cast out demons and to heal diseases. We can better ourselves. We can do those things. We can cast out the devil. He literally told us that we can. We all have the power and authority. It's until we believe otherwise. It's until we fall into fear. It's until we get angry. Then all of those things, because it's like a disruption in our system. It's like something in us is disrupted because now we feel like we don't have the power and authority. If you don't feel powerful, if you don't feel like you can overcome something, if you don't feel like you can change a situation, you're you're not walking in Christ. You have something inside of you that's not allowing you to do so. Because he literally told us we have the power of authority, and I feel like that's a lot. I wouldn't say that's what a lot of us forget because a lot of us don't even know that to begin with. So it's not even the fact that, oh, we forget that. It's that we don't know that. And I feel like coming to learn that, it just, it made me feel so much better. So I know it will make a lot of other people feel much better. Because I used to feel so powerless in a lot of situations, but that's because something in me wasn't right. My spirit wasn't right. I had an unclean spirit, and it just needed to go away. And in order to do that was, yes, I had to get into my word. Yes, I had to pray a lot more. Yes, it took patience and it took diligence because it wasn't easy, but nothing ever worth having is easy. Like, it does take work, but once you get into it, then it's like, wow, it's not hard at all. Like you said with your workout journey, when you got into it, when you started losing and seeing, when you started losing the weight and started seeing the fruit from it, you were like, wow, this is easy. Why is a lot of people doing this? And it will come to that point when you're diligent. It will come to that point when you start to believe you have the power and authority. And with the, it's so funny you say that, because with the money thing and with the things that we ask for from God, and it's like you say, He gives us. I wouldn't say God doesn't give us. God doesn't give us answers. He doesn't give us. He just doesn't give us things. Well, the only thing God gives us is the opportunity, because He wants to see what we're going to do with it. He wants to see if we're actually faithful enough. He wants to see if we're actually following Him and like understanding Him to know that He gave me the opportunity to do this. So let me go do this thing. I feel like with that, that is so funny because He. Hold on. I'm thinking about all the times He gave me the opportunity to do things and I probably wasn't. But just knowing that, like knowing that He gives us opportunities when it should be way more easy to discern what's for us and what's not for us. If you're ever in a situation where you're doubting something, I will 100% say that's not from God, because God doesn't want us to doubt. He isn't a doubtful God. He's not going to give us something where we have to be like, I don't know, or, go back and forth with it. At that point, don't even do it. But He just gives us the opportunity to do things. He doesn't give us the answers. So when you're praying and asking for money, when you're asking for a new car, He's going to put you an opportunity to get a new car. He's going to put you an opportunity to make enough money to get a new car. So what would that look like, essentially? It'll look like He'll give you a better paying job. Okay. Now you're working. Now you're, getting money. What are you doing with that money? Like you said, people just blow it on things. He's looking to see what you would do with the opportunity if you were actually do the thing that He called you to do, or the thing that you're even praying for. It's not even that He called you to do, you pray for it. He gave it to you. He gave you the opportunity. Now, like, the ball is in your court. He is the God of choices. He gave us choices. He gave us the power to make choices and decisions, because He would rather see what we would rather do. We would rather follow Him, or we would rather live this worldly life and receive all these desires and accolades. And I feel like a lot of people fall victim to the, oh, I have a new, better paying job. Now I can do this and that. But it's like, you were just praying to me for a new car. You were just praying to me to save money to buy your new car because you don't have a car, and you're spending all this money taking Ubers or asking people for rides, where you could just get your own car, put you in a situation where you can finally be able to get this thing, but you're not even utilizing it the way you said you would utilize it. And that's the point where, that's kind of the point God's trying to make. And at that point, God will most likely take it away from you, because He sees you can't handle it. He sees you're not even sticking to what you prayed for. So why would He come and help you with anything? He's still watching over you. He still cares for you. But He's not going to continue to give you stuff. He's not going to continue to give you opportunities to get something that you pray for when you do get the thing and you don't do what you said you was going to do. And I feel like God says we expect more. Hmm. I could picture him saying, you expect more than you give me the power to do. So we're expecting all these things from him, but we're not even giving him the power to do it for us. So, like I said, with the opportunity thing, he gives us opportunities. We expect it's like we expect it, so he gives it to us. But then we start falling into the world and what everybody else is doing. Then that strips God of his power. And now he's gonna take it away from you because you can't even handle that. And it's so easy. It's so easy. Everything that comes from the devil is so easy. So it's so easy to fall victim to, oh, I have a new job. I can pay for all this cool stuff now and buy this and go here and spend my money here. It's so easy to do that. It's so easy to do that. That's like such an easy scenic route. But then how does it make you feel after? I know when I used to be on my, oh, I'd rather just eat out than cook at home type deal. I used to feel bad every time. I used to look at my bank account like, dang, like I honestly didn't have to do that. Next day, guess what I did? The same thing. Felt bad again. And I know a lot of other people feel the same because when you've gone so long without something, a job, money, a car, when you finally have to start putting more into that thing. So, for instance, a person gone so long without the job, they want a new car, but they're spending all of the money on food. But they've gone so long without a job, so now every time they spend money on something that isn't that thing that they needed the job for, they're going to feel bad for it. And that's how I know all of that stuff is temporary and all of that stuff isn't from God or what He wants us to do. Okay, yeah, every now and then, oh, let me treat myself. But that's such a lie. We think we need to be treated for everything. We think we need to be treated for everything. It's like, oh, I can give me a little reward, or let me just go treat myself this day. You know, I had a long week, or God does not care about that. That is so that's like the easiest thing to say. I'm gonna just treat myself because I deserve it. It's like we're almost lying to ourselves and we're kind of making fun of God too, because He gave us this thing to handle, but we feel like we need something more out of it, so we take more out of it. And He's like, dang, like this isn't what was asked for me. This isn't what was asked for you. And look at what you're doing with the thing that I gave you. I'm gonna take my stuff back. Because everything we have is on loan. Everything we have is a gift. God want it back if He see we can't handle it. He like, oh no, like look at what you're doing. But that's just how I see it. And from a my generation perspective, let me get it back. But yeah.
I think a lot of people pray for the wrong things, or at least they approach it the wrong way. Like, if you pray for a boyfriend or girlfriend or just a relationship, you may say God asked for a relationship, when you more need to realize there's steps to get there. It's more, you should ask God, prepare me for prepare me for when you give me the opportunity, because we can ask for all these things, but it's like you said, God's going to give us the opportunity, and what are we going to do with it? Are we going to mess it up, or are we going to prosper off of it? um Especially like I said, with money. If He gives you money, are you going to waste it all, or are you going to properly spend it or save it? um I think people, like, I think I'm good. I don't say this out of pride, but I think I'm uh good at realizing that I'm not ready for certain opportunities, and there's times when I realize I need to learn more, or I need more
Mhm.
experience. um Part of the reason I like the fact that I have someone like Dom, is because I know I'm not as biblically or theologically trained as he is. So if I need help, I can go to him. Or if I need a topic to be spoken on, I can ask him to speak about it. Even with relationships, people want relationships, but they're not ready for it. They don't know how to. Guys don't know how to treat a girl. Uh, I can't speak from a woman's perspective, but yeah, just from what I've seen, guys don't know how to treat girls. They don't know how to adjust. Everybody has their own problems that they just need to realize they need to fix. But everybody wants that end goal, and they don't want to take the time to immediately get there. Like
No.
something wrong with our generation. It's primarily because of stuff like TikTok, that instant gratification. Like if you scroll
Yeah.
on TikTok, you get a 6 second video, you get a laugh, on to the next one, and one video turns into 3 hours of scrolling. So like now everybody wants things quick. They want, even with money, like on TikTok or even all social media, you'll see quick ways to get all this, quick ways to get money, quick ways to lose weight. The reality is some things aren't quick.
Mm-hmm.
There are quick ways, but uh, we shouldn't popularize taking the quicker, easy way out. People don't understand the value of going through hard work and growth.
Yeah. And I will also go to say that lazy people strike out on the independent line. It's so easy. The word easy, I feel like I'm overusing the word easy, but that's literally what it is. Like, it's so easy to do things the lazy way, like you said, the faster way. That's exactly what it is. And we strike out on the independent line. When we go our own way, when we go our own route, we're going to strike out every single time. Yeah, it might feel good or, for a second, like you said, temporary. But at the end of it, we're going to strike out. We're going to lose. It's written, it's in the book. And First Timothy First Timothy 4:16 says, "Keep a close watch on how you live and on your teaching. Stay true to what is right for the sake of your own salvation." We don't pay enough attention to ourselves. We pay enough attention to what everybody else is doing, and we kind of piggyback off of that. Why are we piggybacking off of anybody that isn't God? Why are we piggybacking off of any book, any self-help book, instead of the Bible? Why are we piggybacking off of, I don't know, people talking on YouTube instead of going to church and listening to a sermon? We're piggybacking off the wrong things. We're paying attention to the wrong things. That's because we can get all those things in 30-second clips. That's because we can highlight those things and make them look pretty instead of highlighting the real and rawness right out of the Bible that isn't so pretty, but it's that tough love. It'll put us through there. It's so, once again, easy to follow that route instead of doing the hard work and then it being easy later. And nothing good comes out of anything fast. I'll just say that. Nothing good comes out of anything fast. Same thing with your explanation about relationships. I would say the best relationships is when you start off as like friends first, and then it kind of goes off of that. People want to be in relationships so bad, they just get with anybody. They get with anybody at any time for whatever reason. They can't even give you a valid reason as to why this is my person. You just want somebody. You just want somebody now. You don't want to wait. You don't want to, I don't know. I was going to say consult a friend, but you guys should be friends. Why are you jumping right into anything? It should be a friendly matter because you don't want to hurt your friend. So that's why I always say, like, it's so much better to find a friend first. We're looking for the wrong things. We're looking for love. Do you know what love is? Do you know what love? God knows what love is. I know what love is because I know who God is. Do you know what love is? We look for certain things and people that only God can give us, that we can only get out of Him. And when you don't pay attention to yourself, when you don't kind of learn and study yourself, it makes it so much harder for you to go out and succeed in the world. Of course, if I don't know who I am as a person, of course, if I don't understand me, of course, if I don't learn, my rights from my wrongs or what triggers me, of course, I'm going to go out in the world and just do whatever and pick up things that are easy because I don't know any better, because I don't know myself. Okay. Okay, Kamaria, how can you know yourself? How can you come to know who you are and, so you don't just follow the worldly desires? How do you know that? I know that because I pray. I know that because I talk to God. I know that because He told me who I was. Okay, how can I get Him to tell me who I was, Kamaria? How can I do that? You better pick up the right book. We're done picking up 30-second ways to fall in love, or I don't know, it's a lot of stuff out there. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't read those, because I do, and I did. But that's not my go-to. That's not my first choice. Now, do I enjoy reading Self-help books? I do, 100%. Is self-help books what I resort to in the time of need, in the time of distress? Is self-help books the first thing I resort to when I'm feeling good? First thing? No, never. The Bible is always going to come first. My conversation, my relationship with God is always going to come first. And then I pick that stuff up. If you pick up a self-help book first thing in the morning or last thing at night and you haven't talked to God all day, then that's where your problem lies. Because now you're relying on other people to give you information about yourself, help you understand yourself, instead of the one from who created you. Why do we fall victim to the things that the creator made instead of the creator himself? I'm going to go to that kind of energy always, because we were literally made from the same supernatural being who created the earth and the stars and everything that we love out in the world. Literally everything that we love out in the world. And I'm gonna go pick up a self-help book or listen to a 30-second whatever before him? No, never. So I feel like it just comes with knowing ourselves and understanding and learning ourselves instead of going straight to worldly other things that he created instead of going to him personally. Personally.
Yeah, those. I used to have. It was called the 5 minute journal. It wasn't anything wrong with it, but it just didn't feel right that I was using it instead of. Because I was using it first thing in the morning. And I was just like, why am I not using the Bible first thing in the
Yeah.
morning? And don't get me wrong, I'm not against journaling and the self love books. Like,
Oh no, you should journal. That's so
yeah.
important. Yeah.
Uh, like, I love. Like, I used to journal when I was really, really into, I'd say, depression in freshman year of college. And last semester I read it, and I just had to. I really love looking back at where I was and how I've grown and how my mindset has changed. But I had to throw that away so I can just fully get rid of those past memories. Uh, I
Yeah.
started a new one. I don't remember where it is though. But yeah, seeing progression yourself, that's really helpful.
Hmm. And like noticing where you got it from too. I'm the biggest advocate for journaling. I recommend journaling for all kids. Like whenever a kid approaches me with a problem, I'll be like, I need you to write it down for me because from what I swear I'm a scientist, from what I discovered, but just from what I've seen, seriously, a lot more is said written down because once you start writing, it's like more flows out of you. And that's honestly helped me a lot. I write down my prayers all the time. Whenever I have a regular journal where I kind of just write about mental things, and then I have a prayer journal where I write down my prayers. So I literally write down my prayers and then I say them out loud, or I just pray over what I've written down. And then like my mental journal, that's just you can feel when like something's trying to attack you. So I kind of just write what just literally whatever. And it sounds so if you were to go read through my journal, you'd be like, this girl is crazy. But I literally write down every single thing that comes down to my brain because that's the only way I'll know. That's the only way I'll understand is if it's written down. And I seen this quote that said, look at me referring to quotes, but no, it literally resonated with me so bad. It said that if you, because people want to know how to heal certain things or just really anything, just how to heal, period. The moment you write something down, how you're feeling or whatever that thing is, you already halfway healed it. You're already halfway there to discovering it because we can think all we want. That's how we fall into overthinking. That's how we fall into anxiety. That's how we fall victim to other things. And the devil is the biggest deceiver. We have to remember that as well. So when we're just thinking about things and not doing things, you're ever gonna overthink. You're ever gonna fall victim every single time because we don't fully understand. We need something bigger than just our brain. We need something bigger than our brain. That's why I always recommend just getting it out on paper because yeah, I've noticed the biggest difference in myself just from writing things down as well. It's something about putting a pen or pencil to paper. It's literally priceless. It's literally easy. There has been times I have felt falling off from it. I'm definitely back on now, but there was a time where I stopped journaling for a minute. I would say over a year, and that was probably the worst year I ever had in my life. But then when I picked it up again, I was like, why did I stop? And that's because the devil is a deceiver. He wanted me to stop journaling. He wanted me to stop doing the thing that made me feel better. He wanted me to stop solving problems so I could just stay stagnant. Like I literally did. I literally felt like I wasn't moving in over a year because I couldn't understand what was going on in my brain. But that's because I spent too much time thinking about what was going on in my brain rather than taking action to figure it out. So just writing it down. Literally, you're halfway there. I believe that 100% because then it's like, okay, now I see it instead of just up here. I can literally visually see it on a piece of paper. And I was like, okay, let's put it into action. Then you could pray over that paper. You can, whatever. But I'll say journal. It's big. We need to. We need it.
Yeah, when I started journaling, it was because I realized I need to get, like I told you before, I just needed to get the thoughts out. There was
Mm-hmm.
too much building up, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't trust anybody enough to tell them the thoughts in my mind. I still don't, low key. But as soon as I started writing, like everything just came out. Every thought I need to let out, so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Something I'm gonna start doing is making video journals and uploading them or documenting my progress with certain things. I don't know when. I said I was gonna start that last week, but I didn't. But I really wanna, especially with men, just address mental health, and I always take opportunities to display myself as a vulnerable black man, uh, just to encourage other men or black men to open up. I Every time I've opened up, it's more only been on the internet and in a video in front of a camera. It hasn't really been me having direct conversation with anybody. Uh, Not that I recall. I remember one recent episode I recorded last month. What was it about? We talked about music and we talked about self love. Um, but when I recorded that, I was going through a breakup and I was torn apart mentally. And in that episode, I like before we even recorded, one of my friends, she asked me, "How you doing, Nate?" I said, "Oh, I'm doing horrible." She's like, I love that you were honest. Not a lot of people are brave enough to say that honestly. And we talked about a little bit more in the episode, but that was probably my first time that I can remember being that vulnerable in front of other people. And there are three people in the room with me, and we all, well, one of them I'm closer with, but we're all similar minded individuals. So that was really healthy. But to my point, and I know May's mental health month, I think, mental health awareness. So I really like advocate for men to address their mental health, and especially with like suicide. I'm so trying to prevent that. I can't say I've known somebody that did last year. I don't know if there's somebody I lost. I don't know if it was. I don't know the purpose, but it's a possibility based off what I knew. But yeah, I just love. I always say I love using my life as a testimony for others. So I'll talk about any experience I have as long as I don't disrespect anybody else that's involved in my situation I'm explaining.
Yeah. I actually like that you brought that up about the men's mental health because I do believe that men's mental health, obviously mental health, period, but men specifically. Oh, I know a lot of men that conceal a lot, and not when it comes down to the end, but when it comes down to it, it kind of it just shows. And why is it so much easier for like men to hide stuff? It's so weird. How is it easier? Like why? Because I feel like a lot of men just be hide. Because
It's kind of because we're raised like that. Like we're always raised to. I don't want to say suppress our emotions, but that kind of
mm-hmm,
what it is. It's more like, because I just remember growing up, there was a lot of times where I was upset, and my parents are like, "You shouldn't be like that." And yeah, I think that's just how a lot of men are raised, and a lot of men do get ridiculed for even opening up or being emotional. So just being the fear of being judged, or just, I know for me, every time something happens to me, I remember a lot of things. So the way I act is according to how I've experienced things. So if I say something and I know people ignore me or they just react a certain way, I just won't say it again. Yeah, there's, at the same time, men always have, like, we feel, a lot of men will fear that we'll look soft if we are emotional or vulnerable. And I've seen women ridicule men for that a lot of times. But it's just like we're raised to keep it pushing no matter
Yeah.
what. And we're supposed to be tough minded. So it's just like we may address it to ourselves, but then we'll just move on. We won't properly get it out.
How can you relate it back to the Bible? What does the Bible have to say about that?
Mm,
What did Jesus do?
well, the Bible says to talk to your problems among other Christians. So
Yeah.
that's one thing.
It also
Uh,
says Jesus wept.
it says cast your anxieties to the Lord. So there's definitely times where I've brought my problems to God in prayer and addressed it with God. It's not
Yeah.
like I ignore it. And
Yeah.
Jesus did weep. That's funny because my roommates were like, "Nate, didn't Jesus weep?" I was like, "Yeah." John, it's in John 11:35.
Jesus wept. He did. It's. I mean, it's so much easier to say than actually like do though. But you, you said something that I want to hit on. It was about men feeling like, oh, they were just too scared to be vulnerable just because of like women ridiculing them and them feeling like, because what I be trying to figure out is there's always a root for everything. So something always stems somewhere. Men, you start off as boys. You guys don't come into the world like, oh, let me not say nothing, let me conceal my feelings. So something along the way is like showed men that they needed to do that, that they felt like they had to do that because you don't need to do that, but that it felt like you had to do that. So yeah, I would definitely, I know, ooh, I know about some girls that did that too. Made men like, ooh, why is he crying? Like, I love when I see when a man cries around other people. I mean, if it's something crazy, see, that's what girls be like. They be like, if it's something crazy, it's like, why are you crying? But just let him cry because I feel like it's so easy for men to feel like, I don't know the word for it, just to feel a certain way when they make any emotion because somebody pointed out their emotions. It's like you don't see a lot of people pointing out women's emotions, but when a man does something, it's like, oh, look at what he's doing. How is he feeling? And so I know that's also partially where it comes from. But it's just so interesting to see the dynamic because yeah, there's female and male, but at the end of the day, we're the same. So why? I don't know. I never understood that personally, but it's like I know where it comes from. Men feel like they have to be tough. You know, we have this masculine and feminine thing. Men feels like they have to be that 100% of the time, and they can't be vulnerable. And it's so sad to see though, because I know there's been moments where I've seen men wanted to be more emotional in situation, but because they're a man, oh, I can't act that way. It's like, dang, why not? Just act how you feel. Not too much though, because you know feelings are fleeting. So let's understand our feelings first, but just act how you feel, and without having to overthink it. It's so much easier said than done. And I know coming from a woman, it's like, shut up. Of course you can say that because nobody's ever looked at you and laughed at you for crying. But I've been looked at and laughed at for crying. Does that make it feel better? We all been there. It's just more talked about with men. It's more normalized in society to talk about men when they do that. which is messed up. And I don't
I mean, at the end of
have.
the day, I think it's more about who you have around you. Because I know my freshman year, it was hard for me to. I couldn't address it because so much exploded in my face at once, and then the people around me just weren't helpful at all. Not to like say they were bad people, but they just weren't people I could be honest around, or there
Yeah.
was a lot of judgment. Uh, like I know I have a group of people where I know who I can go to with tough problems, but if you're around the wrong people, because you can't trust everybody with these things, because that's how you end up. Uh, that's how men will end up where they are mentally, like not wanting to be vulnerable. Because something with me is I've realized that at times when I try to be vulnerable, it backfires on me. So I'm just like, okay, never again will I do that and experience this feeling again. Like even recently in March when I was going through a breakup, like I had it was so rough for me because I wanted to be vulnerable in the situation, but from my past experience, it had backfired, and I had no idea what to do. So that was like just a rough mental breakdown of what am I supposed to do here? Eventually, I talked to people about it, and that was kind of helpful. But if you're surrounded or if you have the right people to go to, then it's really helpful. Like my friend, he was telling me the other day, he was going through something, and a bunch of people were occupied, but there was one person that was there for him, and he really appreciated it. It always takes just one person. It's good to have multiple people, but it's good to just have somebody that can be there for you at certain times, and somebody that can relate to you too. Like I'm not trying to bash therapy, but I know a lot of people that have said they're against therapy because a lot of the therapists don't experience what they experience. Like with black people, I've seen a lot of black people say they don't want to go to therapy because the therapists haven't experienced the oppression that they may need therapy for or what they've been facing.
Yeah. I would also go to say it's like you need people who can relate to you. Ooh, let me use the same example. So I have a friend, and we were just talking. She had a problem, and she went to another friend about it. Like she told me what the problem was, but she before she told me, she told somebody else, and they just made her feel so bad about it because they just grew up differently. Like their households was differently, so they saw things different way. And I will go far to say that that is a factor because if I'm telling you about something that happened in my household, but I'm telling you as a close friend, like I trust you, I love you. Let me tell you what's going on with me and what's happened at home. So I don't know. Even if I'm not looking for a response, maybe there's a way you can help me or just listen to me. But the other friend came back with another response that was like totally different. Like that one, it made it seem like she was tripping for what she was going through in her household. Two, she wasn't empathetic about it at all. And I feel like when somebody comes to you with a problem or just wanting you to listen to them, the one of the worst things you can do is not respond back empathetically. Another worst thing you could do is to respond back at all and put your put what you feel. Sometimes people do need a response, but when you haven't been in my kind of situation, the thing you might say back to me could hurt me further because you don't really understand. But I trust you as a friend and that's also kind of hard to navigate because it's like, okay, I trust you as a friend. I love you. I want to tell you what's going on with me. But it's like I also know you have never been in my shoes. You don't know what it's really like for me. But I trust you enough with this information. I just want you to listen to me. So when you come back and say anything, yeah, it might hurt me, but that's another reason why friends need to discern, okay, is she looking for me to respond to her or does she just need a listening ear? In that case, she just needed a listening ear. Like she didn't need her response because she knew that she probably wouldn't really get it because they grew up in two different households. But that is a factor. And I felt like in that situation, I was telling her, I was like, yeah, she shouldn't have said what she said, that hurt you more. But another thing, you shouldn't have never went to her to begin with, knowing that you guys were totally different in that aspect. I feel like certain friends serve certain purposes. If she isn't that friend, but another thing, it's so weird because another thing that I believe is you should have a friend that serve all purposes, but certain friends don't serve certain purposes. So I feel like I can't go to if I feel like I can't go to you for something, even though we're too different. If I feel like I can't go to you for something, I don't necessarily need you around me as a friend. You're really not a friend to me because you're not adding any value to my life in that sense. I can't go to you with anything or with certain things. I want to have friends around me that I can go to about anything. Yes, certain friends serve certain purposes, but if I feel like I have to be closed mouth about something that I'm feeling because you wouldn't understand, I don't even need you to understand me. I just want you to listen to me, but you want to respond back to me. I can't go to you about that. And then it's like, I honestly don't know if you should be here at all because you just don't get it. And I'm not saying only have friends that literally grew up the same way as you because that's never going to be the case. But you should also feel like you can go to a true friend about things or situations. So she had came and told me she was just like kind of feeling bad about it because it's like she understood that she didn't truly get it, but then the way the friend reacted to her to what she had to say about herself made her feel just like more or less than she was already feeling. So I would say friends have to approach those kind of situations empathetically and like knowing when learning your friend. Does my friend just want me to listen to her right now? Do my friend need a response? Do my friend just want to go out to eat and forget about our problems for a second? I don't know, but definitely the people you have around you makes the overall difference. Because I've also, just with me personally, I kind of look for people who just tell me what it is. I grew up differently from a lot of people, and I had a lot of people around me who didn't tell me what it was. It's like I knew certain things were wrong, and I knew like this might not be right. People used to agree with me about stuff, and I used to be like, I already know this might not be, but I was looking for a friend that would be like, no. It's like, okay, I'm my own friend. I know right from wrong. But it's like I also want somebody else who'll be like, "Girl, what are you doing?" People used to just not saying I was doing nothing crazy at all. I'm not saying that at all. But I would just the littlest things I would do that probably I shouldn't have or something. And I didn't really have a friend to be like, "Stop! No, what are you doing?" It was more so like, okay, like YOLO. Ugh, like why? I don't want to YOLO nothing. Like, tell me this is wrong, please. So I met a friend that was like, and it was the simplest thing. So I'm taking college courses over the summer, and I had a friend. I was telling my friends about it, and they were like, "Oh, cool! Like, head of the game type." Da da da. But the thing with college courses in over the summer is they're fitting a whole semester in 6 weeks. I was going to do 4 classes. That's 4 classes, a full semester of 4 classes in 6 weeks. It didn't really, it didn't really register to me. But I sometimes I do get caught up in this. Not an overachiever, but I just feel like I can do everything when there's other things I'm trying to do as well, and I have a rationing problem sometimes where it's like, okay, now I'm overwhelmed, but I thought I could do it. They were like, "Oh, like you got it," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to get back caught up because I took off a semester." So I was like, "I'm just trying to get back caught up." And they were all like, "Oh, okay." But there was just one friend that was like, "Caught up to who? Whose timeline are you on?" And I looked at her, I was like, like she was right. But I was kind of looking at everybody else like, they were like, "Oh, cool," like kind of going along with what I was saying. But she was looking at me like, "Girl, no." She was like, "Do you know how much that's going to be on you? Do you know the real capacity that like that's literally gonna take up my whole summer. That's gonna be like so much. It's literally and it didn't register to me because I was like, oh, it's just 4 classes, but look at the timeline of it. And then she was like, whose timeline are you following? Because I said I was trying to get caught back up, but I was talking about caught back up to the class that I graduated with. So I'll be graduating class 2026, but I was gonna be a semester behind, so I was trying to catch back up to them. But it's like, for what? Like, does it really matter? Like, you're still gonna graduate. You don't have to catch back up to nobody. Now it's like you're following what other people are doing. And I looked at her and I was like, "You're gonna be best friends," because that's exactly what I needed to hear. I'm tired of people telling me things that are just gonna agree with me or just gonna be like, let me do whatever and let me go out here look crazy. Because sometimes we don't always know, like to ourselves. Sometimes we do fall into our own bubble where we don't know and understand like the real capacity of that other things have to carry. Sometimes it do take other people to be like, no, that's crazy. Why would you do that? And it didn't register to me until she said something. And I was like, I definitely needed to hear that because everything you said are things that I'm kind of feeling now with feeling like overwhelmed with doing so much. She was like, you're literally not going to have a summer if you do this. And she was like, you could at least take off a class, maybe two, but if you feel like it, just at least a class that'll make it a little bit better for you. And like, literally the next day I took off a class because when everybody else was agreeing with me, it didn't seem right. I was like, okay, but when she said something, it immediately clicked like, yes, I need to do that. No, I wasn't just listening to what she said. I was listening to what she said, but it wasn't like, oh, because she told me to do this, I'm gonna do it. She said it and it clicked for me. Everybody else agreeing with me didn't click for me. I didn't feel what they were saying, but I was like, okay, but it didn't resonate like what she said. So that's kind of how I discerned that situation. But you need those people around you that will also don't care to disagree with you in certain situations that will tell you what it is. Even if you don't agree with them. Now I could have easily been like, yeah, I'm gonna still do it anyway. Like I hear you, but I'm still do it anyway. Like we still have the power to choose, but we also need other people that'll be like just a different points of view. So I like those people. 100%. We can hang.
Yeah, I'm that type of person. Like, I hate sugarcoating. Like,
Yeah.
I need it straight up, and I give it straight up. And maybe I need to adjust my filter at times, but yeah, I'm a pretty honest person.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the need.
people, when they hear what they want to hear, like that verse I brought up last time in Second Timothy, people will lean towards what people want, what they want people to tell them, but when they hear the honesty, they go away from it. And
Yeah.
people really came to me and go like, Nate, I need your honesty about this or that. Like, I get happy. I'm like, yes, I get to ruin somebody's mindset.
At least they know what they're getting when they come to you.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. That's exactly what people need. We have enough sugar coaters out in the world.
yeah.
I know, personally I know too many and it's just like I know you sugarcoating. I know you're beating around the bush. Like please just tell me. Please. Like I can't handle it. I really can't. And
Yeah,
life's too short for that too.
yeah.
You know.
You're basically just lying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying if somebody says, Nate, do I look bad? I'm gonna say yes. I'd go like, I don't know what I would say, but I'm not gonna lie and say you look good if I think you look bad.
Yeah. But you wouldn't deliver it like you
I'll
do.
really, yeah, I'm respectful. I have
Okay. Yeah.
manners, but
Yeah.
I might say, hey, change that shirt or something, or yeah, I don't know.
No, that's what I would do. I'll be like if they be like, do I look bad? I'll be like, it's just the shirt. Like maybe if you have a different shirt, you can just swap that out for, or if it's the hair, I'll be like, it's just your hair. Yeah, come here.
That's
And
okay. That's different. I can't. I guess as a man, it's hard for me to dress the hair, but
is
yeah.
it? Look at your hair. You can't address the hair, Nathan.
Okay, I know how to take care of my hair. I can't. It's hard for me to help somebody else take care of their hair, especially maybe if it's a girl. Then like, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here.
Yeah, I know it's a different situation. But if you knew it was the hair, would you say it's the hair, or because sometimes it be the hair. It's
Okay,
like,
there's a time where like one of my female friends would say, Nate, slick back bun or I don't remember, like a bun on top. I don't remember. I say slick back. Then she go like, does this look good? I'm like, try the other one.
maybe not
Like
this.
I could easily, I'm easily. Well, I'm about to cut it off, but I could easily tell a man how to take care of his hair, easy peasy. But I don't. I can't. I'm not gonna do it for them. That's one
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely easier for girls to do that in that aspect. That's if people won't. you to do it for them. You know, some people just tell them like it's a piece right here that needs to be like. But yeah, no, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know how to sugarcoat, honestly. I do, but I just don't. It won't sit well with me.
Yeah, um, that's a very great habit not to pick up. So you saying you don't know how to sugarcoat, never learn how to sugarcoat.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's another one? And some of them just be so like simple. It's like you could have just said what it was. I feel like people do that because they think you're gonna be upset or like. But if you're asking me a question, I used to okay. When people ask me questions, I used to think my answer would make them upset. So I was one of those people that thought, "Dang, they might be mad," but they asked me, so I just had to like. I just said it to myself like, "Well, if they didn't want to know the answer, why would they ask me?" So I'm gonna give you the real, honest truth because you asked me. But it'll be different if like you didn't ask me and then yeah. But if you ask me, oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
So people feel like people are gonna be upset. But if they ask you, they got no room to be upset. Because then you
Yeah.
could be like, you should never ask me then. You know, like obviously and people also ask when they know it might be a problem themselves. So if they feel like something's wrong, because then I'll just catch you up. So if you be like, no, but then they be like, yeah, huh, it's this right here. It's like, okay, now I know you lied because we're not dumb creatures. We can tell what's wrong. So if we be like, no, nothing's wrong, and the other person be like, yes, it is. I definitely been in that situation before. Like, yes, it is. But yeah, tell the truth. No sugarcoating.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not one to say my opinion when it's not asked for. But once you ask for it, then you might set yourself up for failure if you're not strong enough to handle the truth.
Yeah. Now I'm hoping there were some times in there where it wasn't nothing wrong, Nathan, and you were like, no, you're good. Or like 9 times out of 10, it's like,
Oh no, I'll like if I like if think you look good, and hey, you look good. But
oh, okay,
I'm generous.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, I'm generous. Oh, we got 6 views. Okay,
We're going up on the charts.
went from 5 to 6 in one. How long has it been? It's been over an hour.
Yeah,
Are you watching? Are you a singular person in there right now?
I am.
Oh, dang.
That's me.
Let me see now. Yeah, we only have one person right now. We had 3 at one point.
Yeah, you wasn't one of them.
Nah.
Okay, I know who one of them was.
Um, Maybe I should promote it more.
Yeah, once we get, yeah. Are you? Do you have anything else you want to say?
I
Because
don't
I had
think
a,
so.
had an idea, but I will talk about it after. Okay.
So is this the end? Is that what you're saying? You're saying turn it
Yeah.
off? All right.
Yeah.
Anybody that's watching, possibly, sorry. That's the end.